Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up that screen. All right, this is the show I was telling you about. I'm going to do something about inflation. We're going to talk about what President Biden should do about inflation and primarily gas prices as well. It's all playing into itself and really a problem. We'll get a new CPI number out on Friday, or as I call it, the CPI. We'll see if it's below 8.2%. I think the real inflation number is between 12 and 15%. And I only think that because I have to eat food and buy gas, and occasionally I go to a restaurant, or if you have to rent a hotel room, or if you have any type of life at all, you're going to be spending 12 to 15% on almost everything else. Try renting a car. So I don't know where they're coming up with this 8%. That's laughable. Maybe it's, if you include everything that nobody ever buys, maybe then it's 8.2%. But if you're buying anything at all that you need, it's higher. Pain. So let's talk about this thing. I understand the whole point of having higher gas prices. That's why a lot of people in the administration don't seem to be too upset about it, because understand their whole thing is about global warming and all of that. And I understand that. Everybody wants clean water. Everybody wants a good environment. I get that. And there's nobody that is more pro EV than me. If you've watched this channel, I'm all about EVs. I own, so many stocks that are EV related. I cover NIO, Lucid. I've covered Tesla. Tesla to me is the most important company of a generation. I don't think there's a more important company out there, not even Apple or Google. I think Tesla is kind of the Mac Daddy. Understand that from right off the get-go. But also understand, I know we can't go to EVs right now. We can move towards it slowly. It's not going to happen fast because there's not enough EVs out there. They're too expensive and people can't afford it right now. They've got to, good grief. It doesn't make any sense. It's going to take 10, 20, 30 years to really convert over to EVs. And in the meantime, we're going to need oil because that's what you make gas and that's what you make natural gas out of and all these other things. Of course, natural gas is just an offshoot. How natural gas prices are this high, given how much we frack and how much natural gas comes off of that, is crazy to me. But let's talk about I'll tell you what I would do if I was President Biden, okay? So just imagine that for a minute. Come on, man. Okay, now I'd start out with that way it's President Biden, even though it looked like me. So you would know immediately, okay, that's him. First thing I would do is I would get all the oil producers together, all the big dogs, ExxonMobil, Citgo, you name it, all the BP, whoever I could get in there. And I would call an emergency meeting. And I would get all the frackers together as well and try to get them all in one room. I would do it separately. Of course, although some of the big oil companies are frackers too, a lot of them now. They bought into that, of course. So the reality is, instead of demonizing the oil companies, I would sit down with them and say, look, what do I need to do to help you pump out an extra 1 million barrels a day out of the United States? What do I need to do to help you with that? And the first thing they're going to do is say, leave the pipelines alone. And then they're going to say, get the regulations off of us. Let us do what we need to do and quit threatening us and quit demonizing us and saying that we're racking up prices. That's really a meeting that should happen. Because here's the thing, the oil companies, especially ones produced in the United States, really, that's important to our self-defense. I mean, we need to be able to produce our own oil. We don't want to be totally dependent on the Middle East. That's not a good idea. So rather than demonizing them, why not treat them as partners? That's what I would do. And again, this is not me ripping on Biden. That's not what this video is about. It's about trying to figure out how to get these gas prices down, because if you don't, inflation's never going to come down. If we're paying $5 a gallon, we're going to have high inflation for a very long time, and it's going to stay elevated. So getting together with those folks and making them understand, say, we're partners in this. I want you to help me, let me help you, and let's get this thing done and pump out that extra 1 million barrels a day, because the frackers could do it quickly. They can frack very quickly. It's not like the regular procedure of drilling for oil where it takes a ton of infrastructure and all these things have to be done. In frackers, they can get it done very quickly. So that would be the number one thing to do. Now let's take a look at this article here. And this is the mainstream media. 4 reasons high gas prices aren't Joe Biden's fault. That's the start of the article. And one critical way he's adding to the problem. and it comes down here to a pandemic-induced supply and demand mismatch, I'll agree with that one. I'll give you that one. The war in Ukraine and the European energy crisis, I'll sort of give you that one. Some people think that has to do with Afghanistan and the debacle of that, and that leading Russia into thinking, hey, we can go over and do this. But, you know, the reality is that may not have had anything to do with it. So I'll give you the second point. Challenges increasing production. Look, that I'm not going to give up that point, because that's one where the President of the United States can get with these producers and say, look, how can I help you? How can I help you, help me, help us? So I'm not giving that one. And this other one, price gouging, I don't agree with that, because here's the thing, nobody gave a crap about gas prices when they were down at 99 cents or whatever the heck it was during the pandemic. Nobody cared about the oil companies at all, and they had to pull back, of course. And now they're sitting here going, gosh, you know, do we really want to spend a ton of money on exploration and building this infrastructure when really the executive branch doesn't like us, you know, and they're going to make it difficult on us. So I'll give them 2 of the 4 points. One of them I begrudgingly give. The other 2 I don't. The other thing I would do is I would open up as many leases as I possibly could. Now, I understand doing those sorts of things is going to get him attacked from the left. I even mentioned that on a previous video, but the reality is he's getting killed in the polls, and the midterms are going to be brutal if he doesn't get these oil prices down. And if I was advising him, I would say that would be the #1 priority. So you've got to get oil prices down and get gas prices down, or the midterms are going to be a nightmare. Now, as far as Russia and that situation, that's tough. I thought the Russian thing would be over by the end of May, and that has not happened. I don't know how long that's going to go, and that definitely is playing a role in higher gas prices without question. And I don't know how you expedite that, because you've got this madman over there in Russia who is a psychopath, who is committing freaking war crimes. And how do you reason or rationale with that person? It's probably either, hey, give us Ukraine, or I'm just going to keep this up. Well, you can't do that, nor is Ukraine going to give up. So that's a tough one. The other issue we've got is the China lockdowns are getting ready to be done. You know, they're pulling back on the lockdowns big time, and they are the #1 user of oil. You know, they import the crap out of oil, millions and millions of barrels every day, and now they're getting ready to be wanting a ton of it. So that's just going to push up the oil prices even more. So, you know, I think we're heading to this price right here. Yep, that's unleaded's going to be that, plus will be that, and then premium will be both. So yeah, that's where we're headed right there. Probably by the middle of July, this is what the prices will be.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
All right, folks, and I understand there's more to inflation than just gas prices, but I can tell you this much. It's the instigator of all of this. And, of course, printing a ton of money, 40% of all the money that was printed ever in the history of the world was done in the last about 36 months. So that's going to push up inflation dramatically, because you've got a huge supply of dollar bills out there that have just been printed out of nowhere. And of course, that's going to push up inflation. But gas prices are the start of everything, because understand, high gas prices means high shipping costs. High shipping cost means cost of goods sold go up. Cost of goods sold go up means retail prices go up. And retail prices means high inflation, and so on and so forth. So it's just a never-ending vicious cycle. So attacking gas prices would be the #1 priority if I was president, or if I was advising the president. All right, folks. So like I told you, this wasn't an attack on President Biden. This was just, hey, what I would do. And if you like this content, hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover this type of stuff. If you don't, I understand. Normally I've been just doing investing, but I'm trying to do a little bit more stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd certainly appreciate it. We'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.